Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Fatback Four. Liverpool are unbeaten, 8 wins, 3 draws. It's all good. It really is. We need to calm down. This week with me, you can see on screen, you have Matt, you have Marty, and you have Grizz. We're going to do about 35 minutes on the match itself, and then we will have a download available for you tomorrow morning. Let's get into it. First of all, your intro music was by Laboom. This is in association with at Liverpool or LFC Online. Check out all their social media platforms for all your Liverpool news and views. Right, straight into it. I won't go to Matt first because he's reading a long message on his phone. So we'll go to Marty. Marty first. Marty, I'm going to start with your immediate reaction to the draw and going into the lineup as well. I just want to see how you felt about the game afterwards, and I want to see how you felt about the lineup when it was announced.
I can't get out of the lineup. I tweeted straight away that I thought the lineup was our best lineup for a tough away game. I thought, obviously, the issue with Lovren coming to, he had a minor injury, so I thought that was our strongest 11. Had no issues whatsoever about that. Tried and tested, obviously, with the exception of Fabinho. So I'm not going to complain with that one. Game itself, I've changed my analysis on this game probably about 100 times since full-time whistle yesterday.
As you do.
As anyone that knows me knows I do. Look, using perspective, it's a solid result, solid point away from home. I think a lot of people would have taken it before the game. But as anything, when you're 1-0 up in any game with 10 minutes to go and you don't see it out, it's disappointing. We had plenty of chances to put the game away. But look, like I said, using perspective, it's another top 6 away game out the way. We haven't lost. We've picked up a point, so we'll take it and we move on from it.
Okay, Matt, I'll come to you next. The lineup, a lot of people were probably predicted it or were one player away from it. Were you happy enough with it? And afterwards, 2-point dropped, or you happy with a point? Judging on the performance, what way are you going to go with
it? All right, looking at the lineup. This time last season, he probably would have played Shaq in the more attacking 4-2-3-1. But looking at what he's doing this season, especially away from home against the top 6, he's making sure we don't drop points and we're not gung-ho. We've noticed over the last few weeks, we are more reserved against these teams. We are holding it back and keeping it more defensive. We're not shipping goals like we used to, which was what everyone said was his biggest downfall, was we would go away and we'll ship goals. Well, we're not doing it now, but that comes at a price, and that comes at a midfield 3 of James Milner, Gini Wijnaldum and Fabinho, whatever his last name is. And so we have gone more attacking. We're missing that link. What?
Tavares.
Is it? That'll do. Oh, yeah, that's his missus. Yeah. That's how you know. So, yeah, we are just going to leave the 3 up front to try and do something on the break. So I wasn't shocked. I would have been happy with Shaq in there if it was any difference. On to the results. I said last week, I think we'd win. But then I also said I'd be happy with a point. If we beat all the shite, which we are doing, and then we draw, especially away, to the top 6, and maybe pick up a win here or there against them at home, we win this league. So at the moment, we're bang on. We can't be worrying about what City's doing, because they're just City, or they could turn up and absolutely smash a team one week. But then we've seen them lose as well, so we can't worry about that. We've just got to think about what we're doing. And at the moment, that's about taking points off your top 6 rivals away from home, beating everyone else and doing what you can at home. And at the moment, we're on for that. So I thought we were unlucky not to win, but at the end of the day, before the game, I think I would have taken a draw.
Okay. Grizz, I can't remember what time you told us the lineup at. I'm going to say it was before it was released.
It wasn't.
It wasn't. Okay. Well, I'm going to say it wasn't before it was released, Chris, after having a word with me legal counsel. But for you, the lineup, did it make sense to you? No Lovren in the squad. I haven't even looked up to see if there's anything wrong with him. But were you happy with the lineup? And you know, I know it is a hindsight question, but the 1-1 draw, I'll be honest, is it as bad as people are making out to be?
It really isn't. Look, the lineup, once Lovren was ruled out through injury, the lineup kind of picked itself, especially to a big opponent away from home. As Matt says, maybe the Klopp of the first year or second season would have played, if he had Shaqiri in his squad or a Shaqiri type player, would have played probably Shaqiri in the hole or a Phil Coutinho if he was still there. But people got to remember we had a pretty abysmal record against the top six last season, and I think that irks Klopp, and I think he's trying to rectify that this year to make sure first and foremost we don't lose in the big head-to-heads, and we haven't. We've gone away to an opponent that was 11 wins on the bounce, was it, lads, or something like that? 11 wins on the bounce. You know, they were full of confidence, and that's the best. That's the best. A lot of my Arsenal mates, because you've got to remember I'm in London, loads of my London mates, Arsenal mates, said that's the best Arsenal have played in ages. Right? So you work that out. That's the best they've played in ages, and we, by all accounts, were average at best, maybe, or about average, and yet we're disappointed with a 1-1 draw. It's nothing to be disappointed about. The disappointment lies because we took the lead and we couldn't see out, considering our defensive record's been so good. But look, credit to them as well. They played really well. Unai Emery went really attacking, which surprised me. But the team selections, I think it was standard. I'm sure Lovren would have played and Gomez would have played right back. But apart from that, you know, it was inevitable Milner was going to come in. Overall, absolutely chuffed to bits that we're still unbeaten at 27 points. Yes, the last 20 minutes was a bit frustrating, but overall, took a point.
Okay, getting into the game, Marty, I'll come back to you. Like Grizz said there, Unai Emery goes more attacking than I thought as well, I'm going to be honest. But for me, he turns it into a game like end-to-end, which usually suits us, but for me, you know, Marty, if we get more control of that game slows down a bit and there's a bit more of a thought process, and I think we beat them. Do you think this was a tactic of Arsenal's to make it, you know, helter-skelter and, you know, try to disrupt any sort of flow Liverpool have, make it a kind of game of tennis, as people call it? Is that something you've seen Arsenal doing deliberately because they didn't want to get into a tactical, thought-out game, I suppose?
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, I think Emery's still probably learning his best 11. I think we've seen, if anyone watches Arsenal, you've seen sometimes he uses Lacazette, sometimes he plays with Aubameyang, sometimes he uses both like he did on the weekend. To be honest with you, I think Emery probably looked at it and thought, we need to just go gung-ho. You know, anyone that looked at Liverpool, everyone can see that we're not the kind of attacking juggernaut this season that we've necessarily been last year with regards to the transition from the back to the front. You know, we're still scoring goals, we're still a danger. We're still going to cause anyone problems. But I think he's looked at it and thought, it's probably a little bit of a free hit for him. You know, if Arsenal had lost yesterday 1 or 2-0, would many people have really had a pop at Emery? Probably not. So he's probably looked at it and thought, look, if we just go 4 of our attackers in Aubameyang, Lacazette, obviously Mkhitaryan and Ozil, press from the front and basically just see what happens. And I think that's what they did. And, I agree with Grizz. I think Arsenal I think they were really, really good yesterday. I do give them a lot of credit. I thought they gave us a good game. But again, sort of with regard to tactics, I think he just kind of put his 4 best attackers out on the pitch and said, just have a good go. And what will be, will be. And I do believe that had we have been at our best last night, we probably could have cut that Arsenal team apart. I think it was a mixture of them giving it a good go and us not quite at the races yesterday. But at the end of the day, they were at their best. We were at average at best, and they celebrating a draw out of it. So I think that speaks a lot, to be perfectly honest. Yeah,
Matt. He does seem to make it. He tries to make it as chaotic as possible. Like last season's Liverpool, probably in full flow in a helter-skelter game like that are licking their lips because we love it. Whereas this year, do you think Matty does it because he's watched other sides play us, and if it settles down, we get a lot of the ball, we make you run a hell of a lot, and we'll do it in the last 15, 20 minutes because you have nothing left in the tank? Is that something you think Arsenal are looking at as well?
I don't know if he has gone out to go helter-skelter. Just the fact that we've set up quite defensively and played the long balls up front with such a big gap in between, and them going very attacking has caused it to be like it is. I know they had a lot of the possession and they look like the better team, but I don't think we gave them hardly any big chances. Like most teams this season, they might look like they're doing one on us, but come 25, 30 yards from the goal and not much is happening. Even Lacazette, for his goal, I don't think we class that as a big chance. That's an absolute fucking world-class finish on the 10. I can't think off the top of my head right now of any big chances. I would say we had more big chances than them.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, the fact that it's helter-skelter is we're sitting deep with our defence and midfield, and then we're hoofing it up. So we're playing on a break, and it looks a lot more frantic than it is. But as I say, when they're attacking, we are very controlled in our defensive line, both of them, back line and sitting in front. We're very controlled. We knew we had them where we want them.
Yeah, but
they were struggling to get through.
Can I ask you then? Right, we're a bit deeper and we're fully in control of defensively the way we're playing. Is that something Arsenal look to do? You know, get up the pitch against us, because if we take control, if we're controlled defensively, fine. But if we're controlled midfield and we're controlled with regards to our front three, that's where we can exploit Arsenal. And I don't know how to put this. They try to be, you know, positive to stop the negative happening, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, you have to, don't you? Especially, I think he's looked at our defence and thought it's so good, he needs these attackers on, and that's why he's gone for it. Because how many have we conceded before this? Is it 3?
Four
Three in the
goals.
league.
4 league goals.
Yeah, but 3 before this game.
No, I think it might be 5 we've conceded now.
All right, let's just say 3.
Okay.
And then he's looked at it.
That was a pointless exercise. Go on.
And he thought, how are we going to score against these? You're not getting the goals that people used to. So he has thrown the extra attackers on, and thought, all right, fuck it. We're at home. He's seeing his team is on a good run. They're full of confidence. Let's go for it. And then by default, it's ended up being end to end.
Come on, Griff.
Yeah, can I just butt in?
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, teams, often we've played Arsenal in the past and we've said Wenger's picked a very attacking team. And he does. Wenger used to pick an attacking team against us as well. But the difference in this team, in this Arsenal team, compared to the recent Arsenal teams that we've played, is not the fact that they've got so many attackers on the pitch. It was the work rate that Unai Emery's got these forwards doing. I mean, their work rate was incredible. I've never seen Ozil and Mkhitaryan and the like, Aubameyang, for example, press as much as they were pressing us. They were cutting off all our passing lanes and everything. And sometimes you just got to, hold your hand up and say, look, Emery did sort of, make them so motivated and made them, almost made it the game of the season for them. The atmosphere was amazing, at the Emirates. And as Matt says, I watched it twice now. We kind of controlled proceedings mostly in terms of letting them have chances. Alisson made that one save from Torreira when he got sort of spaced in the middle. But apart from that, we did have chances to kill them off completely. And so it's not as though they had chances after chance after chance. They weren't breaking us up. I mean, we'll probably come on to it, but, VVD was a colossus. I thought it was quite controlled. Where we lost it, where we didn't win it, I should say, not lost it, where we didn't win it was, as usual, and we'll probably touch on it again, was where our forwards weren't clinical as they have been, in the past.
Yeah, look, right. I'll stay with you, Grizz, then, because if you want to, we usually go through this game and we go minute by minute or every 10 minutes. I want to look at the game as a whole more than anything else, and there's a couple of instances I want to go to, right? But if I look back, I watched the game and then I watched the highlights, match of the day, or whatever the fuck it was I watched. And there's a chance in a couple of minutes in. I was saying to Marty earlier where they square it and Alisson makes a decent save. The Trey one you're talking about, Aubameyang has one that's deflected wide. Like you said, that they're not opening us, but they're not opening us up, and they're not major clear-cut chances. Like the goal itself isn't a clear-cut chance for me. But if you look at our side, you have.
I said that.
You've won with Salah, where he's through, and it's a bad touch that allows Xhaka to get back. You have Van Dijk's 3 chances. You know, Milner scores. You know, we have really, really, really good chances in that game. Do you think, Riz, that like if Arsenal would it be better for Arsenal to sit back, you know, and try contain us rather than press us? Because if they don't press us, I think we get more chances than what we got yesterday, and we probably take them. And Arsenal got away with a draw yesterday, in my opinion, because we're literally fucking 2 switches of a dial away from annihilating them. That's my opinion on it. We are.
It's look. In most big games, when I say big games, when you get the top 4 or 6 playing each other, it's always, it all comes down to fine margins usually. You very rarely get a thrashing from one side to the other, sort of. But, you know, this possibly could have been, I mean, we haven't even mentioned the crazy offside.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that.
You know, I mean, if you analyse it, VVD should have a hat-trick on his own. I mean, I saw a video midweek where he claimed he used to be striker for his club. He started off as a striker. Well,
now I know why he's not.
Now we know why he's the Colossus at the back that he is, yeah. I mean, you know, a couple of those chances were gilt-edged. I mean, that header, you know, gets it on target. It's a goal, the one that hits the post, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and, you know, we actually cut them open in terms of creating a chance of just that, again, that final pass, the final shot wouldn't just go in. As opposed to them, they were sort of had their lovely touches and lovely flicks, but it was all in front of us. They very rarely got behind us. A couple of times they got behind Trent, but there wasn't much sort of going on in our penalty area, if you know what I mean. But I agree with you. I think they were lucky that we weren't as clinical as we could have been, because that could have easily ended up 3-4-1 with the clear-cut chance, as you said. I mean, you know, Firmino has a chance. That header, you know, he again a poor header. You know, it's just frustrating that we can't. We're not far. We're not far yet. You know, it's so frustrating. We actually, you know, we fix one side of the team and then the other sort of lets us down. You know, yesterday a lot of criticism was at the midfield, you know, but I don't want to blame the individuals too much. I think maybe we should, you know, we're allowed to maybe question Klopp's change in formation, maybe.
Yeah, it's you know, the midfield did come in for a lot, and we'll come on to that later. But when all is said and done, you know, we restrict Arsenal at home, as you said, after I think 12 wins and a draw in the last 13 or something along them lines. We restrict them to the chances you see yesterday, and then you know we don't put ours away. I find it hard to blame a defence and a midfield when we restrict them to that, and then we don't put our chances away. I do find it hard. Like, you can nitpick, I suppose, after certain players, and Fabinho will be one that we bring up later because it's crazy what's going on game-to-game basis with midfielders at this stage. Matt, I'll come to you on the VAR decision. Or the lack of VAR, or whatever way you want to put it. I've watched this back a few times, and the only reason I can think, Matt, that he puts up his flag is, from me, I think Mane is offside when the original ball comes in. Now, having said that, my understanding of the rule is he's offside there, but he's not interfering, and when it comes back off the bar, or, you know, it's a tap in and it should be a goal. Do you just have to take those decisions, Matt? They even themselves out, as people say, or is it another one to foil away for when VAR comes up for the discussion again?
Yeah, nah, you can't take that. The linesman, he's a fucking bellend there.
Okay.
For one, he's 7-8 yards off the pace.
Yes, he's
failing to do his job there. Secondly, I think he's confused himself. He doesn't know, and he's given it offside. There's no way he's interfering in play, because he doesn't touch the ball. We had this with Tottenham against us last season.
Yeah.
So there's no way he's interfering. He doesn't think. Well, I don't think he knows the second phase of play puts him back on side. That's how I see it. Because the ball's in front of Mane, so he's clearly not offside. even though he's behind the play, he can see the balls in front of Mane, so he's not offside. He's just confused himself about the first and second phase. Instead of consulting the ref, he's just whacked his hand up like a bellend that he is. And it happens all the time against us. It's getting like, I used to laugh when people say it was conspiracy theory. We haven't had a penalty, I don't think. I don't know if it's just at Anfield or 1999.
It was the last penalty we had.
Oh, I thought it was 97, but yeah. I know it's around then. It's absolutely fucking bollocks. Yeah, I don't know why it's happening, but the amount of times we've had players and we've had handballs, we've had players diving, not diving, players getting there tripped up in the penalty area, and we just don't get anything, and it's embarrassing. Bring VAR in, I say, because these fucking useless cunts aren't up to the task.
Yeah, so basically I've asked you, and you've nailed your colours to the mast. He's a bellend and useless cunt. So that's where you stand on that. You see, the thing is, like, going back to the linesman, right? As I said when I watched it again, was Mane offside when the original ball was played? But if you know the rules, he hasn't interfered with the play. He's not on the eye line of the goalkeeper. He hasn't touched the ball. It's come back out, and he's tapped the ball in the net. It's a second phase of play, and he wasn't offside. Marty, is there a... First of all, like Matt said, the linesman is way out of position, and there's no excuse from being way out of position. None, right? It's not like it's a lightning attack where, you know, he has to tear... That defence is 16 yards from goal or whatever. He has to be in position to see the ball being played. And secondly, if he's in doubt, is it right to put his hand up? Is it right to put the flag up and say, "Oh, it's offside"? And thirdly, Marty, do you think the referee should be looking at that and saying, "I can see this. I can see what's happened here"? Now, if he puts his flag up and he says, and the ref says, "Well, that looks good to me," well, I thought he was offside when Firmino hit it. Well, he wasn't, and I'll give him the goal. Is that a line that the referee can go down, or does he have to take that linesman's decision? One, he's out of position, and two, he doesn't know the rules, as Matt said. Or he's forgotten the rules. I'm not going to go as far as to say he doesn't know the rules, but he's forgotten the rule and he's confused himself.
Yeah, I think there's so much frustration with this particular decision, and because this isn't an isolated incident, the officials are questioned every single week, and it's not just Liverpool; it's every single game. We're watching it and just saying, "How is he not given a penalty, red card, etc." You know, I don't understand at what point this gets looked at and we determine that they're, you know, inept at officiating, because it's ridiculous. That's not a difficult decision. It wasn't difficult. And the fact that you're now talking about, you know, schoolboy errors, the fact that he's not up with play, I quite frankly thought that official was a joke the whole half. You know, there was an incident just after that where Kolasinac was literally kicking Salah about 10 times in the fight, and it was just stood there. Stood there doing nothing. And I thought, you know, is this guy on a wind-up? And then the very same at the other end, Robertson breaks out from left-back and he gets clearly pulled back and they give nothing. So, you know, I think it's just time that the FA need to look at it and say, you know, if this was somebody in a 9-to-5 job and they're making the mistakes that these officials make week in, week out, so why is this any different? You know, these linesmen, referees, you know, they're officiating at Premier League level. You know, they're meant to be there because they're the best at what they do, and they're not. They're shite. You know, they're getting wrong decisions week in, week out, and it needs to be looked at. Are they doing it because they're bottling it? You know, if they bottled it under the pressure of a home atmosphere, are they completely inept that they don't know the rules? You know, why is this happening? And the thing is, I understand people are calling in VAR, but if we then look at the League Cup game at home at Anfield where we played Chelsea, we had VAR and an offside goal still got given because they couldn't see it. So even bringing in VAR, you're still getting the wrong decision. So it's just a joke. It's just, like I said, it's happening week in, week out. Offside decisions get given wrong. Red cards get given wrong. It's an absolute shambles, and something needs to change because it doesn't even itself out at all. You know, it's like I said, we haven't had a penalty at home since, you know, like 1980, and it's not like we've had
99
opportunities. Look at home last year, Brighton. It's a joke. 97. It's an absolute joke. So 97, yeah. But you know, it's week in, week out. It's getting questioned, and something needs to change because it's going to cost people relegation, titles, etc. And it just can't keep going. Morons officiating week in, week out.
Yeah, Grizz, Firmino is God on the Periscope has said this won't change until Klopp comes out and starts calling them out publicly. This, and he follows it up with saying this is what Ferguson and Mourinho got decisions, how they got decisions for years. I agree with him, but I think it's a different game we're in now. Ferguson was an expert at it, and he used to do it sometimes just come out right out and said it, and he nearly had referees banned from Old Trafford. But do you think Klopp needs to come out and instead of saying, look, that's what happens, and, does he need to come out and go, well, no, the decision was wrong, and it was blatantly wrong, and because you can't charge him with anything when he says the decision was wrong, it was blatantly wrong. If he points out facts like it was wrong, he wasn't offside, the linesman was in the wrong position, A, B, C, and they're facts, he can't be done for that. Do you think that's what it's going to take, Chris, in order to get these decisions? Because, could be a huge point in the season. It could be a huge 2 points that we don't have right now. It's not trying to be bitter or anything like that. It's just a fact. Do you think we need to go and be a little bit more purposeful in the way we speak about this?
Yeah, and I think the players as well on what remonstrating on the pitch. I'm all for dirty tricks. I'm all for nastiness. I'm all for do whatever it takes to win. Klopp has. And Klopp will. There's going to come to a point where Klopp has to turn into not Mr. Nasty in the media, but sort of this giggling German with specs. He's got to get rid of that image and get really tough with the media, because it's true. Mourinho and Alex, saying Alex like I know him personally, but right, I mean, they've been doing it for years, and it does work. How many decisions did we used to see at Chelsea and United? Sort of the 50-50s go towards sort of their teams. It just doesn't happen for us. We very rarely get 50-50s going our way. I know we got the Mane one in the Champions League, but that, even that was sort of, some would say it was a bit of a dangerous challenge. It would have been given outside the box. But very rarely or recently, for the last, how many years is it, Gav? What, 97? Well, last few years, we haven't been giving him 50-50.
Go on.
Grizz bottling out 21 there, see that?
Have a guess how many years?
I gave up quick. But anyway, Klopp's got to come out and make noise. I'm all for it. Forget all this, it's it evens itself out. And look, I don't want to say nothing about the referees. I think he should. I think he should come out and blast them and really put them under pressure, because
I don't think he has to blast them, Grizz. I think if he comes out there yesterday and says, we were this, because he
does the right smile.
Yeah, of course he does the right smile, because obviously, he's probably being told by the press officer or his person that's with him, don't go too hard on this, don't do this, don't do that. And there's probably, stuff being put out.
What's going to happen to him, Gav?
No. Well, usually you get a fine, and sometimes they can come down hard and they can ban you and do things like that. He doesn't need. Listen, Grizz, if he comes out tomorrow,
I disagree with you there, Gav. That doesn't happen.
No, but he could.
If he comes out after the game and says, that's a penalty, we got it wrong, fuck, dude.
Yeah. But this is what I'm saying. You don't have to go bull in the china shop. If he comes out yesterday and they do ask him, what did you think of the goal that was disallowed for Sadio Mane? All he has to turn around and say is, I've watched it back. He's not offside. The linesman's out of position. He's out of position, and two, when the ball comes back off the bar or whatever it is, when it comes back, he decides then, he's offside, he's out of position, and he forgets the rule, and just walk away. Just say nothing else after that. There's nobody in this land that can touch him. But like people have said here, the right smile and being nice, do we need to change it? That's what I'm asking you.
The fact is that these refs, the constant they protected, after the game, they're all protected. They should look at the World Cup and be absolutely fucking embarrassed. Not one of them got taken to the World Cup. And they're sitting there trying to tell everyone that's the best league in the world, and the refs can't even get a ref to the World Cup. These fucking refs from Slovenia and shite. They should be absolutely embarrassed. The FA should come down on them and the Refs Association for better training. And a system where if you make a mistake, you get fucking punished. You get put down to the championship. I'm not talking like a real big mistake. All these shite decisions week in, week out, they should be punished for it, and they're not.
Matt, do you know what it is?
They get to come out the stadium, get in the car and drive home. They don't have to answer any questions from the media, nothing.
But lads, do you know what makes this decision the worst? It's not an actual in terms of, it didn't happen on the pitch in terms of it was a foul, it could have been construed 50-50. It was actually a technical decision that he got wrong. You know, it was actually technical law that he didn't understand.
He guessed.
He
forgot.
think
he guessed.
He guessed, yeah. I mean, he basically guessed, and that's the frustrating part, and that's what sort of it gets you annoyed. I mean, if it's like a challenge 50-50, you can debate it until the cows come home. But this is a technical decision, and either he, as Gav said earlier, he forgot the rule for that split second, or he just we know he guessed because he was about 10 yards behind and that's what makes it worse. It was an actual technical decision. The laws of the game that they got wrong.
He's for me, looking at it, from the linesman's point of view, is, oh, fuck, I'm out of position here. When that ball goes through, oh, I'm way out of position here. And then when Firmino hits it and it comes back out, he's still trying to make his way back. And I think he has to be thinking, I just put my flag up here. I just put my flag up because he's right in the middle of the goal.
Don't get me wrong, I've done on the Sunday League.
It's the easy way out, isn't it?
I've been line-out for my club team, my local team. I've been line-out, but that's like, me.
But you couldn't keep up fucking hell.
I've guessed many a time, Matt. Right?
He has the burger van parked on the 18-yard line, not moving.
No one argues with me, but imagine if someone went up to my face, I would shit myself and give the right decision next time as well. I think people need to put pressure in these fucking lines and referees. I think Klopp should come out and have a go.
I think in their head, it's better to disallow a goal than let a goal stand that shouldn't be, and that's where they're going with it. Like Claire just said on the Perry here, I agree with her. They should face the press afterwards.
Of course they should.
Absolutely.
Of course they should.
100%, and that'll help sort a lot of it out.
They used to do that. There was something they had it on the other day, the Premier League years from the late 90s, and they used to stand in front, as the managers, the players do, in front of the response board, and they used to talk about it.
Did they?
Why change? Why is that changing? Yeah. They had.
What year was that in?
Filled out. It was filled
1989.
Okay.
Yeah. It was an older one, but they've done it. They stood in front of the sponsor board, like the players, like the managers, and so they should. They get paid enough money to do it. If they make a mistake, fix up. But I think the frustrating thing as well is I may get this wrong and push my head, but I thought
you just dropped fix up on the pod.
Fix up, I did, yeah. Fix up, look sharp. I think, is it not give advantage to the attackers? If it's you give advantage to the attacking side, but now I would rather they sit there. The ref goes over to the linesman. The linesman says, did you see that? I wasn't at will play, and consult the officials. Like, that's why they're there. That's why you have an official that side, an official on the side by the managers, the other official and the referee. Is that they should consult each other and work as a team.
Well, you see,
but they don't.
You see, Marty.
I agree.
They can't.
Hold on.
They can't. Go on, Matt. I'll let you go. Go.
I'm going to say, if you look at what they did against Tottenham last season, they consulted each other. He said, was it Penno? I don't know. I'm going to give it.
Yeah.
They're just fucking clueless.
Yeah. But you see,
I hate them all.
You see, yeah, and we're trying to have a discussion based on a certain level of professionalism and decision making that we can't really rely on. Like we us four can sit here, and the people watching here can try make that argument or decision based on just level-headedness and but we're talking about people that, in my opinion, are inept. And the most frustrating thing for me is, right, whatever the linesman does, when that ball hits the net, the referee should be able to say, that looks all right to me, and say to his linesman, what have you got that flag up for? Well, when it comes back off the bar, he's offside, right? And when he says, you're giving that because you think he was offside when he hits it off the bar. Yeah, well, he was behind him. I was looking in on it. He's behind him as he strikes it. There's no way. It's a 5-second thing, and it doesn't have any difference to the flow of the game. And it's not VAR. It's two people that work together in a workplace. Let's be honest about it. It's their workplace, and two people consulting with each other. Offside, yeah, when he hits it and it comes back out the bar, he was in an offside position. Well, no, he wasn't, because I'm standing looking diagonally in there and he's definitely behind him. Oh, well, then you give the goal. I was wrong. And this is what's wrong. It's not only not, as Marty said, or Matt said, or Grid said, coming out and having to explain decisions. It's the fact that we don't have to explain it, but we don't even have to discuss it either. Let's just, the flag's up, yeah, that's grand. Yeah. Now, they might get an ear bashing on Monday morning off. I don't know, was Dave or Ellery still alive? I don't know who does it. But they get that, and they might end up like if you take the name of that linesman and watch where he's doing a linesman next week. I'd be very, very surprised if it's in the Premier League, and I'd be actually surprised if it's in the Championship. And that's it. I'm finished.
Yeah, yeah.
I agree with you. It's as if they don't want to be wrong. They can't admit to being wrong. But it will help everyone if they were just like, yeah, fine, I got that wrong.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah, it is about not wanting to be wrong. But it's look, I'm all right if he says to him, I thought he was offside when he hit the second ball, and the other fella says, oh well, I thought he was behind him, but you probably had a better view, did you? Yeah, well, I think I did. Okay, when we make that decision, and they get it wrong because they've looked at the facts, right? What they've made a decision on there yesterday is a guy 10 yards out of 10 yards out of position. First of all, right, forgets a rule. Second of all, while being out of position, which compounds it, and then you have a referee who, if he's in the right position, because if that develops and Firmino takes that ball down and the defender comes near him, he should be in a position, at an acute angle to him to say, I can see this if anything happens. And if he's in that position, he's able to make the decision. He's the referee of the fucking game. Forget this fella running up and down with the flag. If he wants to overrule him and say, why is it offside? It's because he hit it the second. No, he wasn't. It's a fucking goal. And that's the way it should be.
Right, let's move on because we're giving these smelly bellends enough time.
Yeah,
let's move on.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, pop a little off steam, then, innit?
Because do you know what?
Don't start.
It just annoys me when make a decision, but make it based around fucking actual doing your job, and then make the decision. Don't just fucking say, "Oh, there's a flag in the air." You know what I mean? Oh, let's stop the fucking game. Ridiculous.
Everyone say yeah.
Right, last couple of things. Man of the match. I want to get to man of the match, and I just want pick a man of the match. And then I'm going to see who get. I'll put it this way. I'm very interested to see what just picked this week. Marty, I'll come to you first. Man of the match.
Virgil van Dijk.
Missed 3 chances. Virgil van Dijk. Okay. Grizz, man of the match.
Let him give him context then. Give him a chance to give context.
Go on, Marty, give us that context.
Because you shot him there with the 3 chances.
Yeah.
Well, but at the end of the day, he's a defender, isn't he? You know, I'd rather he defends than scores goals. I thought he was a colossus. I thought he was an absolute monster. I thought in a game where quite a lot of our players looked average, he managed to stand out. In point of fact, I couldn't name another player that played better than him, to put it simply. I just thought he was an absolute beast. Yeah. There you go.
We're coming around to this concept.
He was the best player on our team. There you go.
Okay, the best player on our team was definitely him. Grizz, who was your man of the match?
VVD.
Yeah?
Yeah, okay. Vivid was a monster. He was absolute. I mean, him and Robertson were the 2 standout performers for me. I thought, by far, actually, it's not even close. I don't think. I don't know why you're intrigued to find out who was man of the match. I don't think I think it's pretty unanimous across the board that it was Vivid.
Okay, Vivid. No show for Go Jomez, no?
Mm.
No, that's it. You pick VVD. Fuck off.
Context. Let me give you a bit of context. I mean, we haven't got to their goal. I mean, look.
He doesn't like Gomez.
Oh,
no.
He's
got an agenda.
Hates
it. Yeah, he has.
He has. Gomez. He's totally shut me up. But look.
No one shut you up.
The way some harsh critics would say the way Lacazette got in behind him through, there was a bit of miscommunication. You could have blamed VVD for not passing him on, and track the Lacazette run. So, I mean, he was good. He didn't do much wrong, but Vivid was just outstanding.
Okay, man of the match.
So for me, it was.
Fabinho's going.
Yeah.
No.
Joel Matip.
Carry it.
VVD was amazing. He really was. But we were set up in a very nice defensive shape for him to be amazing. So I am going to go someone different. And for me, it's between Mane. But I'm going to go with the one which will maybe piss a few more people off and go Jimmy Milner. Because, context. Here we go. So, you think about it.
Now, hold on. Matt doesn't usually do context, so everyone listening, Listen.
You listening? Because I think he was the best on the team. No. He was sat next to Fabinho, who defensively was pretty good. On the ball, I thought he was pretty terrible. He was taking too long or rushing his passes. He felt it looked like he was overwhelmed with the speed of the game. I'm not holding it against him. It's his third game in. He'll come good. And secondly, he was also alongside Gini Wijnaldum, who I think was sat in the fucking top tier for half the game, because I did not see him and he didn't have a fucking touch. I don't think he had a touch since 1999.
since he took that penalty in 1999.
Absolutely, I just thought the game completely passed him by. And strangely, with Gini, it can happen. One week he can be absolutely magnificent, and the next he can just be invisible. And that's what he was this week. So it was almost as if Jimmy Milner was looking after that midfield on his own, and he got up from a broken jaw and 3 broken eye sockets to play on the last half an hour of the game. So I'm giving it to him. Yeah, and I don't even like him that much.
No, I know you don't.
But I do. Actually, I do now.
I
never used to.
Van Dijk is a fair choice, but Matt, I'm going to agree with you. You know, there's a lot of talk around for Fabinho. I think we're being a bit harsh on Wijnaldum. I think he was doing a hell of a lot of running, trying to plug gaps. That's my honest opinion on it. But Milner scores a goal, works hard, nearly gets killed, comes back from near death to play out the game. I think it's a very, very good performance from him in an area of the pitch that was difficult to play in yesterday. Like you said earlier, we were comfortable defensively, but midfield was a difficult place to play yesterday. Torreira, who I said during the week suits Arsenal, I think he proved that yesterday. I think he proves that they're not as open with him. He gets stuck in and he sets a tempo. I think Milner done very, very well. So Milner gets 2 votes, Van Dijk gets 2 votes. Whoever, we'll put it out and see. We'll put it out on Twitter later on and see who actually who wins it. That's the end of the live show. We'll have a download for you tomorrow with extra content. As I said before, your intro music is from Laboom. This is in association with LFC Online. Check them out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that. There was one person last week that got very upset that we weren't live. At you never walk alone _Claire. I think that was one person that Matt was referring to earlier. This show is dedicated to her. I told her last week we would dedicate this show to her because we are live again this week.
She missed my face. She
was very, very upset. So we're dedicating this show this week to Claire. Last thing on the live show, and I will say it on the download as well, we have put together, the Day Trippers have put together a series of interviews for the Sean Cox appeal. They will be released very soon. All details will be on our social media platforms. Numerous lads here have put in a hell of a lot of work to get former Liverpool, Ireland players, or former Ireland manager. They've done a lot of work putting this all together for a great cause. So when you see it coming out, get involved. I think it's £5 for 5 interviews. It'll be £10 for 10 interviews, and if you pay for the first 2, I think you get the last 5 free. I think that's the way it's working. But if you can spread the word around to non-Liverpool people, anyone you can think of, because it's a great cause for a man that's suffered horrendous injuries, has a long road ahead of him, and at an extraordinary cost it's going to take to get that man back to any sort of normal way of life. So I want to leave it on that note. I want to wish him all the best. I want to wish the lads that are doing all the work on those interviews all the best, and thank the people that have taken part. I'd like to thank them from all of us at the Fatback for giving their time up free of charge, which means every cent that we make from this will go to the Sean Cox appeal. That's been the Fatback 4 for this week. Marty, thanks a million. Grizz, thanks a million. Matt, thanks a million. I'm not thanking myself, that's a bit weird. We'll talk to you live next week at 7:30. And as I said, download tomorrow morning with extra content. Have a good one. Over and out.